So for God's sakes, let's just get down to it. Is the Vatican a snake? It's a yes or no answer. Yes or no. Is Audience Hall a snake? It's a yes or no answer. Yes or no. Is there a snake eating sheep in the Akhenaten hieroglyph? It's a yes or no. Is there a statue in downtown Grand Junction of a girl hugging a guy that's a snake killing a sheep? Yes or no? Are there snakes killing sheep hidden in front of us in plain sight in public, but you have to have the eyes to see it? Yes or no? Okay, if so, what does that mean? It means a snake's eating the sheep. All you have to do is know who the snake is and who the sheep is. The snake is Satan. Who's the sheep? God's lost children. He came to die on a cross to get them back because the snake is eating the sheep from the inside. And that is the serpent system. That is the Ouroboros. That is what's behind me on this hieroglyph of Akhenaten and Nefertiti. The Vatican is identical to this hieroglyph. It's a serpent eating sheep. The Vatican is a serpent eating sheep. And the reason I'm doing this video is because of this new sun showing up in the sky and what it more than likely means. So part of what I want to do is I want to play some little clips, and then I put together it's about an hour long course on physics and where is all the trillions of dollars going from the U.S. government. And it's going to put a picture together in your mind that when you see it, you're going to go, this makes sense of everything. Now listen, I'm here just to show you what's being given to me, data, supernatural, prayer, Holy Spirit. Look at this. When the Lord shows me something like Jonathan coming at a 45-degree angle to the Vatican on Google Earth, and I did what he said, that's what revealed that the Vatican's a serpent wearing a crown, because I listened to what the Lord told me to do. And when I came in at the 45-degree angle, it turned into a serpent wearing a crown. Then I heard the Lord tell me, go find the window that's above which is the mouth of the sheep. The mouth of the serpent. Go find the window inside the Vatican, which is the dead sheep. And when Dave the Wave found the virtual tour, I was like, oh my God, the whole Vatican is a snake eating a sheep. Well, the hieroglyph of Akhenaten and Nefertiti's a serpent eating a sheep. That's weird. My wife gave me a card with a serpent eating a sheep. That's weird. Alex drew a picture of me with a serpent eating a sheep. That's weird. Marcel drew a picture of me too with a serpent eating a sheep. So now we have the common denominator, and we know who the players are. It's a serpent race eating a sheep race. Just like Lady Gaga said, her performance of the Grammy Awards is about a new race of beings being birthed within the human race. Now get ready. Have y'all ever considered because there is this idea that there's a good Jonathan and a bad Jonathan. It's not an idea. It's the understanding of the crosses of Calvary. There's a good you and there's a bad you. One's up, one's down. One eye goes to the star, one eye goes to the pit. What is the pit exactly? Well, it's a dimension. We know that. And it's a state of being. So when you die, if you haven't been converted, then your soul, your energy goes to this place called the abyss. And what happens? You're assimilated. That is the exact word for the shapes of the locusts. When it talks about the locusts in Revelation 9:11, the shapes of the locusts, they had hair like women, faces like men, teeth like lions, tails like scorpions. Okay, the word shapes means to assimilate. So your energy is being pulled out of you, going to another place. There's something else living a life alongside of you. That's why the Bible says, I will restore to you the years that the cankerworm has eaten, the locust, that great army I sent among you, because we violated number one directive. Do not, neither shall you touch it lest you die. But angels have free will. We're all involved. Okay, now watch. Imagine the crosses at Calvary. There's a good you on one side, and there's a bad you on the other side. So this represents the good you with the eye like, a human eye. This represents the bad you like the eye like a serpent eye, because that represents a sheep and that represents the serpent race, and they're commingled. Well, what is this? That's exactly what this is. There's a serpent and there's the sheep. But the whole thing was a breeding thing to combine the serpent and the sheep. So we're eaten from the inside. So our spirit is being eaten, consumed from the inside. Like Marina Abramovic's spirit cooking. Now you know why all these Hollywood elites, they have the Mocha Gala where they have people with their heads coming up through the table, making a giant eye, a round table with the head in the center as an eye, or they'll have a girl in the center of a round table and her whole body lined up and making a big eye of a serpent. Now you know why. Because they know what this is. And the only way to get out of this trap, you got one eye that's serpent, one eye that's sheep, and the only way out of it is to have Jesus take your position on that cross, and you get a spiritual rebirth where you're turned back to your Creator. It's absolute perfection in understanding this, and it's woven through all the scriptures. Okay, now, imagine Nibiru is showing up right now. Imagine the sun in the sky, that red ball that we're seeing that's coming in all these videos all over the world. Imagine that is another solar system showing up at the same time. And it brings with it its own system, its own planets. Like maybe a parallel universe showing up called Planet X. Planet X. Wait till I show you what Nibiru is called by the ancient Sumerians. You know what it's called? It means the planet of the crossing. Okay. We have so much stuff to look at. I'm just going to start dumping it on you. Ready? Let's go. Let me just start giving it to you in chunks and pieces. This is the serpent's system to destroy you. This represents, right here, it says demon with the downward blue triangle, female energy. That goes to the abyss. Okay, the angelic energy, that goes to heaven. That's why the Lord is always alongside of you. He's always there with you. Okay, now, the one in the middle was meant for a guy named Barabbas, which means son of the Father. But Jesus took the cross for Barabbas, and that's a representation of him taking the cross for you. Because you're a son of the Father. I'm a son of the Father. And when you accept Jesus to forgive you for your sins, and he converts you, literally inverts you. He turns you the opposite direction, and your eyes become single, and you can see. And that tether, that line to the abyss where the worm is feeding off you, is cut, and there's no more record against you. Do you understand? So you've been converted. Okay, now imagine this. Imagine that solar system showing up, the dark sun, and that solar system showing up at a time where it actually can interact with us. In a physical sense, planets would flip upside down. There would be meteors coming from the sky from the debris trail. There would be instantaneous freezing going on, because when the planet is flipping, which Isaiah says, Isaiah 24, I will turn the world upside down and scatter the inhabitants abroad. So imagine the whole pole shifting instantly. What would happen to everything? Well, can you imagine where would the oceans go? What would they do? Just try and imagine the whole pole shift happening in a matter of hours. What would happen? It would be cataclysmic. I wonder what it would look like. I wonder if the coming of the Mahdi, you know, where Obama's logo is the sun rising from the place of its setting. That's the coming of the hidden Imam. Isn't it fascinating? All this stuff's going on right now. And at the time all this is going on, there's a sun rising from the place of its setting. Well, did you ever consider it's Nibiru showing up and that whole solar system, which is the antithesis of this solar system? Wow. Okay. Now, before I get into it all, I'm just going to give you some more data. Okay. So data is your friend, man. Let's roll this out. I'm going to play you another short intro just to get your brain on the reality that in this system, there's serpents consuming sheep all through these folders. Now, while you're watching this, remember Nibiru, according to the Sumerians and ancient texts, is supposed to be the planet of the reptiles, like a reptilian race. Stop and think about that. So, you know how the abyss, I've shown you in the Ozzy Osbourne video and other platforms that it shows twin female coming up and forming the serpent. Who made the serpent? Who created? The Lord God did. Did the Lord God create Elohim? Yes or no? Yes, he did. But he's the self-existent, eternal Jehovah Elohim. Self-existent. So if there's a system that you come into with his essence, and he comes into that same system as Emmanuel, and he repurchases, whatever, how many, 500,000 people, 1,000,000 people, everyone has the same piece of the Almighty inside of them, the same essence. So if he repurchases you by coming in, that is self-existence. He left heaven, came in the likeness of sinful flesh. He bought back Jonathan Kleck, so he bought that back, so he gets that back. And anyone else that gets converted, he bought back. So he's buying himself back in the form of you and me and anyone else that gets converted. But what about this whole solar system that looks like it's showing up? Nibiru, the planet of the gods. The reptilian planet, right? The ancient Sumerian reptilian gods. Wow, there's a lot to show you right now. Okay, get ready because there's a lot of info coming right now. You may have to watch this several times, but I'm going to try and give you everything I've gotten over the last 48 hours. It's mind-boggling. Here we go. I'm going to give you another short intro. I want you to consider that the manifestation you're seeing right here on the screen is a Megan Thee Stallion music video called Mamushi, which is a venomous serpent. And Megan is a female, but the word stallion indicates used for breeding, like a male for breeding. So think of that as, wow, it's a male posing as a female serpent race. Oh, I get it. Do you see how obvious it is now? Why would Megan call herself the stallion? Why is the serpent coming out of a milky pool like it's semen? Why in the video is it killing all the men? Because it's a man posing as a woman, killing the men for its army when it arrives. Wow. Isn't the pit rising? Doesn't say that Satan will ascend out of the bottomless pit. Aren't they opening doors at the Rabibi prison, representing the opening of the abyss? Yes or no? Are you seeing this in all kinds of videos I've shown you where the abyss is being opened? Yes or no? Do you ever consider the abyss is just coming to the point where it's coming into our system and it's affecting and it's influencing all the people in the system? Wow. If there's like the string theory in physics, like good Jonathan Sear, there's a tether going to heaven. I should go up, tether going to heaven, and a tether going to the pit. String theory can be in totally different parts of the universe, but tethered together. But when you get converted, it cuts the tether and you're no longer connected to her. Hell hath enlarged herself beyond measure. Do you ever consider that the Bible says in Proverbs 5, but her end is as bitter as wormwood, when it says the lips of a strange woman? Do you ever consider the strange woman isn't just a woman that's an adulteress, but it's the woman from the pit, a strange woman that's really a man posing as a woman, strange woman. Her feet go, her vagina goes down to hell, to the abyss. The Bible says, heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. It literally means padinda. So heaven is my throne and the earth is my padinda for walking around. So the Lord's here and she's here and she's attached to the abyss. Exactly what I've been telling you. Okay, now let me play the short little intro. Watch this. Okay, here's Megan Thee Stallion. Just pay attention and realize this is woven into so much stuff in front of us in society. It's literally right here in front of you in a Megan Thee Stallion video. A serpent coming out of a pool of milky water, killing the men. So how many different serpents have we seen? Enough's enough. The Vatican's a snake. It's eating a sheep. How many dead sheep have we seen? Oh my God. The dead sheep are everywhere. There's dead sheep everywhere. There's dead sheep in the Vatican. There's dead sheep in the Hieroglyph of Akhenaten and Nefertiti. There's dead sheep inside the Head's Kid. There's dead sheep in statues in downtown Grand Junction. There's dead sheep on hamburger joints that you pull over on the side of the road. There's dead sheep hidden in plain sight all over. Look at all these dead sheep. There's dead sheep on tattoos. There's dead sheep everywhere. What's going on? Why all the dead sheep? Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you're one of God's sheep, you might want to pay attention to this. Or even if you think you might be one of God's sheep, you might want to pay attention to this. What's with all the dead sheep? Take a moment and look at what you're looking at right now. This is Boris the Burglar. That is a worldwide neighborhood watch. Now just imagine all the neighborhoods that are started by the serpent commingling with the Adamic race. Their eyes are everywhere all over the earth. Wouldn't it seem like, well, that's not too far of a stretch, that the neighborhood watch sign is actually a sheep getting its head cut off? Remember, they're a bunch of thieves stealing God's children and stealing God's energy. And here is a neighborhood watch sign. That's a sheep getting its head cut off. It's just upside down. Those who try and hide their plans from the Lord, they turn everything upside down. What about Ecclesiastes 7? Elohim, who can make straight that which Elohim, God, Elohim, turned upside down? How did Elohim turn things upside down? Well, didn't Elohim say, let us create man in our image? So in the image of Elohim created he him, male and female created he them. It's an energy transferal machine is what it is. And then you come in with an angelic being and your essence is consumed and it's fed to that other race. You just couldn't see it. Now you're going to be able to see a lot more of it. Watch. That's the neighborhood watch. That's supposed to be a burglar. Okay, burglar, but yes, what else is it? It's a sheep getting its head cut off, but it's upside down, hidden in plain sight. So can you imagine when they show up, when the pit arises and the pit shows up? Then what? Well, then it's time to deal with them. So if you haven't been converted, then you're fair game for them, right? But if you've been converted, you have the seal of God in your forehead. Can they touch you? Yes or no? Bible says no. It was commanded that they not hurt the grass, the trees, or any green thing, only those men that have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So if you've been converted and you're no longer attached to the pit by that one eye, you're untouchable. They can't do anything to you. It sounds pretty scary if you had to sit there and face whatever it is coming, the locusts that are coming from the pit. Now you know why on 9/11 they bombed the Twin Towers, because it's a twin system. It's a cannibalistic system. Cain, Abel, cannibal. Do you ever consider like it's a planetary thing? Like, where's all the energy going from all the dead people? Well, it goes to the abyss. To what? A locust that's feeding off each individual. And where is that exactly? In the abyss. Wow. Now there's 2 suns showing up. In some cases, 3 suns that have been spotted now. In some cases, you can see like maybe there's 3, maybe even 4 planets. But let me ask you this. Do you think that the government would tell you what's going on if they knew that Planet X, Nibiru, was showing up? Did you know Nibiru is called Wormwood? Did you know Proverbs 5 says her end is as bitter as wormwood? You ever consider that her end is her end, her entire end, like making the loop or the pit rising up, her end? Well, what happens in Revelation? Well, there's all these plagues, all these vials, all these trumpets, all these horrible things that happen. There's fire coming down from heaven, all the water's destroyed. The place is burned to a crisp, giant hailstones coming from the sky, you know, like a pole shift, and like a mass extinction event. That would make total sense of another solar system showing up. That would make total sense for them to know that it was happening because you'd see another sun in the sky. Oh, wow. Okay, her end is as bitter as Wormwood. You ever consider Wormwood is a planet showing up named Planet X? Oh, wow, yes. A lot deeper than I think we all thought. Let me keep going. Watch. So a lot of sheep, and to see them, you got to invert the thing or you'll never see it. Just like you'll only know half the story. But now you can see the whole story by inverting the world. Okay, now let me show you this video. Okay, for those of y'all that want to watch it without me doing any commentary, go right here. It's called Planet X Stitch right here. It's in the newest folder called Special Projects 2. It's called Planet X is the name of the folder. Now, just for the record, years ago, in 2011, I believe, Planet X was a big thing. I did some videos on it. I wasn't convinced at all that Planet X was going to be the end-all, be-all. But now, with the sun showing up in the sky, matching the Islamic prophecy of the coming of the Mahdi, also matching the red and blue star Kachina prophecies, in a cataclysmic event, a harbinger of doom. And then the Lord told me to look at my own parachute. I was like, look at my own parachute. Oh my gosh, my parachute's an X. It's not just an X, it's an X with a circle in the middle, like a planet. V for vengeance, remember? So if you're not set free of their system, which is this is the Ouroboros' system, one up, one down. They're the double downers, but you're trapped in the one up, one down. To get converted, your eyes become single, double up. That's it. And their goal is to destroy up. That's it. That's where we're from. And their goal is to destroy it. Think of her system as it pulls in energy. Think of God's system as it pushes out energy. And then he comes into the system and he repurchases that energy. This is phenomenal. Okay, before I show you the long video, let me show you a quick little Scooby-Doo video. It's like 1 minute long, but it's so good. You got to see it, even in Scooby-Doo. Okay, right here. Okay, here we go.
Planispheric disk
is ours for the taking.
Something's been bugging me about our little underwater escapade.
There's a lot about that adventure I wish we could forget.
Amen to that.
But the weirdest part of all was what the late Abigail Gluck whispered.
Like I'll say, a crazy mummified corpse whispering Nibiru is creepy times 10.
It gets creepier. I googled it and found a lot. Namely this. Nibiru is a planet listed in the writings of Zecharia Sitchin, particularly his book The 12th Planet. According to Sitchin's interpretation of Babylonian religious texts, a giant planet called Nibiru passes by Earth every 3,600 years and allows its sentient inhabitants to interact with humanity. These beings, which Sitchin identified with the Anunnaki of Sumerian myth, would become humanity's first gods. My favorite internet...
I'm going to pause that. Stop and think about that. Reptilian race, first gods. Let us create man in our image. In the image of Elohim created he him, male and female created he them. A vain show, a representative figure, especially an idol. Wow, isn't it crazy how it all fits perfectly? It's going to be an hour from right now before we even get to the folder, because I want you guys to see this video that Zach and I put together for you guys. We stitched it. Okay, here we go. Back to this.
With the Anunnaki of Sumerian myth, 3,600 years, and allows its sentient inhabitants to interact with humanity. These beings, which Sitchin identified with the Anunnaki of Sumerian myth, would become humanity's first gods. My favorite internet encyclopedia says there's supposed to be a collision. The Nibiru collision is a disastrous encounter between the Earth and a large planetary object. Believers in this doomsday event usually refer to this object as Planet X, or Nibiru.
The doomsday event?
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. You guys can watch the rest of that clip. It's absolutely hysterical. Okay, but isn't that perfect? Okay, now let's go to Planet X Stitch. Watch this.
The people that are keeping this secret from us, all right? A lot of people say, when will they tell us this?
Here, let me try and enlarge this one moment. All right, guys, so here you go. Listen, as you watch this clip, this is going to be an hour of information right now. As you watch it, consider all the things you've seen through this ministry. The Vatican's a snake-eating sheep in the form of angels. A bunch of angels turn into a sheep, and they turn into male and female reproductive systems. One's right side up, the other's upside down. Male's right side up, female's is upside down. You know, like opposite ends of the spectrum, like a light star and a dark star. Light star has its planets, its thing. Dark star has its planets, its thing. Dark star's on some long elliptical journey, and it's coming up underneath us right now. Coming up underneath of us, like Allah, the pit rising. Consider those things, and consider what you've seen through this ministry. Consider the trillions of dollars that have been missing during 9/11 when Rumsfeld testified before the Congress that $2.3 trillion were magically missing. And then, oh, wow, all of a sudden, an alleged plane flies right into the office where they were doing the bookkeeping on the missing $2.3 trillion. Do you know what horseshit that is? Can you imagine telling that to some mafia boss? Oh, well, yeah, it's like, whatever. It's like stupid. So, yeah, so what are they doing with the money? Well, if the serpent race that's running the show here through one of your eyes, which is what's going on, that's what the Lord's let me prove here. Well, if they know it's coming into the system and it's going to cause a cataclysmic events on the earth, do you think maybe they're taking $2.3 trillion over here and a couple $1 trillion over there, and they're going way underground building cities and building rail systems and building places that they think they're going to be able to ride out that celestial storm when it happens, which looks like the book of Revelations is describing? It's crazy. Okay, ready? Watch. And then I'll show you the folders and your jaws are going to drop off your faces. Watch this. Okay, here we go.
The people that are keeping this secret from us, all right? A lot of people say, when will they tell us this is coming? They will never formally announce that this is coming in. If the leaders of any of the major nations came out and told the world that this thing is going to be coming in 5 months or 2 months or 6 months, that this thing was going to be coming by, it would be the end of all things. The financing would be, the entire globe would go into riots. So it's not going to be announced. They will never tell us. It literally is the most important report that I have ever done, and I have done reports at the request of the Senate Intelligence Committees. I have done reports directly for dictator Manuel Noriega's lawyers. I have done reports for congressional and Senate investigations for 25 years, and I would never do this as a frivolous bunch of baloney. I am absolutely a complete, firm believer in what I have completed here.
The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one-world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers. And the whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rock.
Okay, I want to comment on this. You see Revelation 13, the mark of the beast. It means a palisade and a stake. Here's a palisade right here. Palisade. Look right down here. A palisade and a stake. RFID is a stake. And the stake comes out of this hollow palisade. That's exactly the definition of the mark of the beast. A palisade and a stake for circumvallation in a siege. So it'll leave a little lump in your hand. If they stick it in there, it'll leave a little lump. And remember, if you already have a bunch of that in you, if you already have a bunch of that because you got that thing that was going around, that serpent sheep slaughter thing, then you're ready to be put online and you won't be able to get out of it. Once it goes in, it's a net. It's like a neural net inside of you. You'll never be able to get out of your magnetic prison. You're in a magnetic prison. Okay, just wanted to comment on that. So this guy's saying exactly what I've been telling you. This is what the Rockefellers told him. And this guy is telling you, and you'll get to see him in just a sec.
Rockefeller himself, this is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what you sell.
Everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one-world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people. And you become a slave. You become a serf to these people. That's their goal. That's their intentions.
Eric, you be specific about when you met Rockefeller, how it happened in these discussions.
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me and knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. And I met him, and I liked him, and he was a very, very smart man. And we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts. And he's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event. And out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, you know, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later, 9/11 happened.
I'm going to pause this, and I want you to understand why we plug this in right now. The complete absurdity of 9/11 at face value, that a bunch of Arab guys with box cutters, that was the official story, box cutters. Do you think if I was in an airplane and some guy's holding a box cutter on me and it's concerning that the plane may be going down because of guys with box cutters, do you think a grown man would say, you know what, I'll take one shot with your box cutter and then, you know, overpower them? I mean, that's absurd. It's insanity. You don't get to take over planes with box cutters. Unless you just have the biggest group of pussies on the whole plane that ever flew on a plane together. I'm sorry, I hope that didn't offend you, but I'm just saying you'd have to be the most weenie, chicken-hearted cowards to sit there and go look at everybody in the plane. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, we better do what the guy with the box cutter says. I'd be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's just go ahead and crash. Anyway, I'm just trying to make a point. It's absurd. It's not even absurd. It's insulting absurdity. So that's why I want you to watch this little clip. Here we go.
On the morning of September 11th, 2001, 19 men armed with box cutters directed by a man on dialysis in a cave fortress halfway around the world using a satellite phone and a laptop directed the most sophisticated penetration of the most heavily defended airspace in the world, overpowering the passengers and the military combat-trained pilots on 4 commercial aircraft before flying those planes wildly off course for over an hour without being molested by a single fighter interceptor. These 19 hijackers, devout religious fundamentalists who like to drink alcohol, snort cocaine, and live with pink-haired strippers, managed to knock down 3 buildings with 2 planes in New York, while in Washington a pilot who couldn't handle a single-engine Cessna was able to fly a 757 in an 8,000-foot descending 270-degree corkscrew turn to come exactly level with the ground, hitting the Pentagon in the budget analyst office where DoD staffers were working on the mystery of the $2.3 trillion that Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld had announced missing from the Pentagon's coffers in a press conference the day before, on September 10th, 2001. Luckily, the news anchors knew who did it within minutes.
Osama bin Laden.
The pundits knew within hours.
Osama bin Laden.
The administration knew within the day.
Terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them.
And the evidence literally fell into the FBI's lap.
That a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
But for some reason, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists demanded an investigation into the greatest attack on American soil in history. That investigation was delayed, underfunded, set up to fail, a conflict of interest, and a cover-up from start to finish. It was based on testimony extracted through torture, the records of which were destroyed. It failed to mention the existence of WTC-7, Able Danger, P-TECH, Sibel Edmonds, OBL and the CIA, and the drills of hijacked aircraft being flown into buildings that were being simulated at the precise same time that those events were actually happening. It was lied to by the Pentagon, the CIA, the Bush administration, and as for Bush and Cheney, well, no one knows what they told it because they testified in secret, off the record, not under oath, and behind closed doors. It didn't bother to look at who funded the attacks because that question is ultimately of little practical significance. Still, the 9/11 Commission did brilliantly answering all of the questions the public had, except most of the victims' family members' questions, and pinned blame on all the people responsible, although no one so much as lost their job, determining the attacks were
failure of imagination.
Because
nobody in our government, at least, and I don't think the prior government that could envision flying airplanes into buildings.
Except the Pentagon, FEMA, NORAD, and the NRO. The DIA destroyed 2.5 terabytes of data on Able Danger, but that's okay because it probably wasn't important. The SEC destroyed their records on the investigation into the insider trading before the attacks, but that's okay because destroying the records of the largest investigation in SEC history is just part of routine record keeping. NIST has classified the data that they used for their model of WTC-7's collapse, but that's okay because knowing how they made their model of the collapse would jeopardize public safety. The FBI has argued that all material related to their investigation of 9/11 should be kept secret from the public, but that's okay because the FBI probably has nothing to hide. This man never existed, nor is anything he had to say worthy of your attention, and if you say otherwise, you are a paranoid conspiracy theorist and deserve to be shunned by all of humanity. Likewise him, and her. And her, and her, and him. Osama bin Laden lived in a cave fortress in the hills of Afghanistan, but somehow got away. Then he was hiding out in Tora Bora, but somehow got away. Then he lived in Abbottabad for years, taunting the most comprehensive intelligence dragnet employing the most sophisticated technology in the history of the world for a decade, releasing video after video with complete impunity and getting younger and younger as he did so, before finally being found in a daring SEAL team raid which wasn't recorded on video, in which he didn't resist or use his wife as a human shield, and in which these crack special forces operatives panicked and killed this unarmed man, supposedly the best source of intelligence about those dastardly terrorists on the entire planet. Then they dumped his body in the ocean before telling anyone about it. Then a couple dozen of that team's members died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. This is the story of 9/11, brought to you by the media which told you the hard truths about
his head could be seen to move violently forward.
And
they took the babies out of incubators.
And
mobile production facilities.
And
the rescue of Jessica Lynch.
If you have any questions about this story, you are a batshit paranoid tinfoil dog abusing baby hater and will be reviled by everyone. If you love your country and or freedom, happiness, rainbows, rock and roll, puppy dogs, apple pie, and your grandma, you will never ever express doubts about any part of this story to anyone. Ever. This has been a public service announcement by the Friends of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DIA, SEC, MSM, White House, NIST, and the 9/11 Commission. Because ignorance is strength.
I'm going to pause that. So you guys understand the absolute absurdity of 9/11. But now you know it's printed on U.S. currency notes. Did you know that the Rockefellers served eminent domain on all the businesses to get the land where the Twin Towers were built? Did you know that? They're the ones that made sure the Twin Towers were put exactly where they were put. They were behind it. Yes. And the U.S. currency notes, they're behind that too. So the bombings of the Twin Towers are on the U.S. currency notes. So I would suggest that the Rockefellers are very in tune with the other side. I would say they are probably just straight up double downers, being, you know, those that help herd all the sheep. All right, here we go. Now I want you to listen. Here is the long segment I told you was coming. This will be about 1 hour video right now. In order to understand everything I'm going to show you, it would really behoove you to have a grasp of this next hour video. This is going to open parts of your brain. It did for me. And the way the Lord showed it to me, I knew it was the same as when he showed me the Vatican. When he told me to come in at a 45-degree angle, the Vatican turned into a snake wearing a crown. Well, imagine a planet that's in a system that's our antithesis, a solar system that's our opposite. That's a reptilian opposite. That's the abyss. Well, that's interesting, because just like I showed you in Ozzy Osbourne video, the twin female Mut comes up from the abyss, and starts the host body system, the serpent. But who made them? The Lord God. Okay, pay attention, guys. Pay attention. Watch this.
About 3 years ago, I started looking at something that had been brought to my attention by several people, and it was basically the fact that there was huge, not millions of dollars, but billions of dollars, and even trillions of dollars with a T, disappearing out of the Fed budgets. So we're talking much more money than I was used to chasing. We used to chase in these variety of corrupted operations. You chase a million or 10 or even $20 million, trying to track that down. When they would, it would show up, let's say, disappeared out of a budget.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
2.3 trillion with a T.
Now, the amount we're talking about now, by the way, 2.3 trillion is the equivalent to writing a check to every man, woman, and child in the United States of America for about $5,000. That's how much 2.3 trillion is. And Donald Rumsfeld, very calmly sat before the Congress and said that that money was missing. They didn't quite know where it was, coming out of defense budgets. Well, the senators and the congressmen, of course, were set back on that. You know, I mean, they're, like I say, they're used to stealing a few million here and there. But when you start talking that kind of money, that's pretty serious.
Because this is what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Every so often, Rumsfeld comes out and goes, I don't know where. I don't know when. But something awful is going to happen.
Obviously, we never heard the story again. It just disappeared into the smoke of the Twin Towers building in New York City. So the announcement was rather well-timed because it just vanished. So following that, some folks had brought, of course, to my attention the fact that Mr. Ron Paul in the Washington, D.C., had come forward and had asked the Federal Reserve System if he could get an audit on the gold, because the gold out of Fort Knox has been rumored to be gone. It is gone. There is no gold in Fort Knox any longer. And when Ron Paul came forward on the floor of the Congress, the Senate, he asked for have an audit of the gold to make sure that it was all still there, and they told him to simply go away.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Because the Congress and the Senate has no right to even look into the Federal Reserve operations. They cannot request. We cannot request through the Senate or the Congress an actual legitimate audit of all the Federal Reserve gold that supposedly is in Fort Knox. Now, what also happened within a few months, of course, you got to remember back 2010, that period of time, 2008, was when the world banks were in a serious financial crisis. You had Greece, and several of these countries are actually on the border of bankruptcy. And the Federal Reserve in America had to lend them money and put money into bolster up the international banking finance, or it was all going to crash. And that was back around 2010, around that period of time. Now, at that time, Germany and several other nations had come forward and had asked the Federal Reserve the same thing that Ron Paul had asked. And that was, we need an audit because the foreign banks, a lot of people, if you're not into this, you would not know it, the foreign banks around the world for many years have put billions and billions of dollars of gold bullion from their different nations around Europe and around the world, South America, etc. They had deposited tons of gold in the Federal Reserve. When Germany and 6 or 8 other nations came forward in about 2013, 2011, that period of time, they came forward and they said, we need to take some of our gold out of Fort Knox and put it back into our own reserves here so we can stabilize our financial condition. Guess what happened? The Federal Reserve System told those countries that they could not have any gold out of Fort Knox. And the best that they could do for those countries was to give them an audit of the gold, but that would not be until 2020. So it really red flagged for me. I thought, wait a minute, something really is rotten in Denmark. We have all this money disappearing from standard legitimate funding out of Washington, just vanishing. And then we have the gold at Fort Knox is gone. I mean, it's gone. If it was there, they would show it to the appropriate people, and they're just not doing that. You know, when you're talking about trillions of dollars vanishing, and then you look at the rest of the scene, for example, changes that had taken place for 20 years with the space program being very, very different from what it originally was, and the expansion of what they called continuity of government within the United States, and the fact that they were arming the police departments with military weapons all over the United States, it started to really bother me. It was a matter of what is going on? What is it that would cause these guys who usually steal what they want to, cover it up, and build them a new home in Tahiti or something for vacations and get away with it? But now they've changed direction. Then I remembered in the 90s, I had several people contact me, and they said, Bob, I have films of the construction of underground facilities all over.
Now, pause. What a great way to be siphoning the money off the entire population through taxes, coming up with whatever nonsense they want to tell you. Oh, if 2.3 trillion is missing, then the next day the office doing the accounting on that 2.3 trillion the office gets an alleged plane flown into the Pentagon, but that's already printed on the U.S. currency. Do you see what I'm talking about? It's too stupid now. No. But if you were taking that money and you were building underground cities with it, and you were pushing your stuff, your bills through Congress or whatever, just like USAID, and you have this slush fund going to whoever, wherever, whatever, with no receipts for it, well, then all of a sudden, well, where is it? Oh, we don't know. But they do know. It's probably because they've been getting the underground ready for the arrival of the cataclysmic event that's coming. And we know it's coming because if you've read the Bible, you know that there's an end to this. And the Bible says the earth is reserved for fire. The only way out of this trap, this judgment, is to be converted. The only one that converts you is the God of heaven. So they're in their own trap. Do you understand? So if they set a trap for God's angels, yes, they're destroying God's angels, but there's no way out of their own trap. Because the only way out of the trap is the Lord God. So they're trying to put underground bunkers, underground cities, underground highways, whatever they're doing with it, as a way to escape it. And they're having everyone pay for it. And they're funding your own revolution in your own country using tax dollars to bring in the armies in disguised as immigration. It's insane. It's pure insanity. Here we go.
Over the United States.
Our black budget, for instance, garners one.
I don't know if y'all know who this is, Phil Schneider. You might look into Phil Schneider and how his hand got melted, the big scar in the middle of his chest. Go look that up. Fascinating story. Don't want to get on a sidetrack. He was responsible for building these deep underground military bases. They're called D-U-M-B, deep underground military bases. And this is the guy, Phil Schneider, but they took Phil out finally.
$1.023 trillion every 2 years. It's over $500 billion a year. Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases in the United States. There's 1,477 of them worldwide. Each one has an average cost of $17 to $19 billion.
And that came to me from several people. Some of them were truck drivers who told me fantastic stories about having an 18-wheeler, 40-foot truck filled with foodstuffs being delivered into a government facility, and they would follow the map where they were supposed to go, and there was nothing out there. Let's say it was outside of Texas in the desert area, and they would go, and the side of a mountain would open up, and they would drive down inside of a mountain, and it would close behind them. Now, those are fantastic stories, but to me, back in the 90s, they were just that. To myself, that was almost an outrageous kind of a story. They would tell me about going into an underground facility in Tennessee and driving for 600 miles under the ground. Those things were a little mind-boggling and pretty fanciful type of a report for me. So I kind of put it on the back shelf. These people sent me pictures, and they sent me what were VHS videos at that time, but I didn't know what to make of them. It didn't mean anything, so I sort of put it on the side burner, so to speak, the back burner. But now this is about 3 years ago, I started putting all of the dots connected all of the dots. And what had taken place in approximately 83, apparently with the launching of a new infrared telescope being put way out in the far reaches of the solar system. Apparently, Planet X, or the planet called Nibiru, which is mentioned in all the biblical writings, it's mentioned in all Bibles and scriptures from many foreign nations. It's mentioned in historic writings.
Pause it right here. I want you to look at what's on your screen. It's mentioned You see right here that the shadow is a crescent moon, and it's birthing like the sun, but it's also got a serpent, and it's also like a belly button. But now think of this. This is what the Lord showed me in the scriptures. On your belly you will go, speaking to the serpent. You know what that means? It means the belly as the external source of the fetus. Can you imagine a location where there's a race of beings, insect race, whatever. They start a race that's called human, but it's attached to them. Angels come in, get in the trap, and anyone that gets in the trap, you're attached to them via a spiritual connection. Now you know what spirit cooking is. Cain and Abel, Cainable. It makes sense of everything. A serpent race. Why is there a serpent right here eating a kid? Why is it eating a sheep? A serpent's eating a sheep. Why is there a serpent right here impregnating this girl on her knees? A reptilian being like a serpent being impregnating this girl on her knees. Why does the kid's head have a consciousness of a reptile and a dead sheep? Just like Lady Gaga said, it's about a new race of beings being birthed within the host body system, the sleeve that you call your body. So whoever tries to save his life will lose it, because you're held on to them you're held on by them. But when you lose your life, you give up your life and you say, you know what, I deserve my punishment. You turn back to the Lord God, you get converted, and they no longer own you anymore. Do you get it? Now I'm going to go over this in the folder because it's woven throughout the scriptures. And I've got the scriptures all in the folders already. If you guys want to go to the last two folders, go have at it. Go get on all those scriptures. But look at this. This is a womb, you guys. This is an external source of the fetus. And so what's this hieroglyph of Akhenaten and Nefertiti all about? Let me just play a short little clip. What's going on in this hieroglyph? Let me show you. That's the head of the kid. It's an egg. Just like Lady Gaga. She was in an egg. We'll call it a reptile egg. Now we have a baby reptile in the fetal position. There he is. I'm going to pause it. Obviously, there's the baby reptile's eye. Here's the eyebrow on the far side. There's the nose under the neck. This is the back. This is the tail coming around, wrapped around the head, the tail in the fetal position. Here's a baby reptile. What about Nibiru? It's where allegedly the serpent gods are from. Okay, so now you see you got a baby reptile inside of an egg, yes? What about Lady Gaga in her egg? A new race of beings being birthed within. Well, what are they using to birth? Well, let me show you right here. Okay, that's the consciousness. That's the head of the child. So the head of the child, that means it's a consciousness. Spirit cooking. Do you get it? Marina Abramovic, twin thing, cut out the heart of your own twin, evil twin, good dimension, evil dimension, good solar system, evil solar system, coming together. Wow. Huh, like maybe the abyss rising, coming back into play with the whole system we're in. Yes, watch. Watch this. Okay, that is definitely a serpent being or a reptile inside the head of the kid. A consciousness of a reptilian. Now watch. Now there is a sheep with its tongue sticking out. I mean, y'all should be able to see it right away, but here's the eye of the sheep right here. This is the eye right here. what looked like what was the reptile earlier, the eye of the reptile, is now the nostril of the sheep. Okay, so there's the eye of the sheep. That's the eye of the kid. We're the sheep, you guys. There's the eye of the child. That's you. But you got a reptile that's feeding off you. A reptile from where? The abyss. You know, where you have your own worm. The reptilian race is an insect race. So here you go. There's the eye of the kid. There's the eye of the sheep, which is the child. There's the nostril right here. There's the nostril right there. This is the open mouth. There's the orangish red tongue right here. More like red. There's the bottom jaw. So there's a sheep with its jaw open and the tongue sticking out. Now, that's going to go inside the head of the kid. Now, just for the record, that's all here on this hieroglyph behind me. I've drawn it in twice. It's absolutely guaranteed what it is. How is it possible that the Vatican's the same thing? Now we have a serious problem. Now everything's come together. Now it's all coming together in a way that's not arguable. Why would someone ever draw the same agenda, a serpent eating a sheep, and say, hey, Johnny, I drew a picture of you, and they put a serpent eating a sheep behind, and the sheep is behind my ear, and I'm able to see it. What does it say in the Bible? I've come to give sight to the blind. So the Lord restored my ability to see them. It's getting good, isn't it? How crazy is all this? It's going to get a lot crazier, so stay tuned. Here we go. Let me do this. Here we go. Okay, let's put the sheep in the head now. Man, this is so crazy. There it is. Look at that sheep. That's a sheep. It's a dead sheep. The Vatican's a dead sheep in the mouth of a serpent. Okay, I want to pause this and I want to see if I have this one folder open. I want to show you something real quick. I think I have the folder right here. I want to show you just a clean shot of that serpent being ready. Here it is. I want you to look at this. Look right here. Look at the eyes. I put some green inside the eye. There's the eye. There's the eye, nose, frowning mouth, top of the head. There he is. That is the spiritual essence of the serpent race inside of what looks human. And that's why, right here, there's the whole thing, and there's the serpent being inside. There's the girl that's on her knees being inseminated. Here they are. Now they're visible. This is their agenda. The Vatican is the same exact agenda as the hieroglyph of Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Okay, let's keep going. There it is. It's not arguable. I'm drawing it in for you. There it is. Now that becomes a scrotum and a penis of the reptilian race inseminating the sheep race, that they let us create man in our image. Do you get it? Wow. I'm going to pause that. You guys can see what's going on here. Yes? Here is the penetration right here where I'm making my circle where the pin is. Here's the penetration right here. Here's the eye of the girl. Here's her mouth. Mouth, eye, top of the head is blonde. I made the hair blonde, and that's really the leg of the kid. But it's hidden in plain sight. Now watch. Now what I did is I took another image of it just to make it even easier for you to see. It's the same exact image. I just did it in a different way for your perception so you can see how obvious it is. There you go. There it is. Those who try and hide their plans, they turn everything upside down. There they are. Now, watch this. This is where you get to see who's eating us. I want to pause it so y'all keep this in mind. Now you know what the gospel of peace is. To make one new man from the two, thus making peace. Because the sheep and the serpent race are not at peace. Male from heaven is sheep. Female from the pit is serpent. Her end is as bitter as wormwood, Nibiru. Wow. So if Nibiru is showing up right now, then you know it's the end of the world. You know for sure. Anyway, pretty crazy. Let's keep going. Here we go. Look at that. You see the creature? Now turn it upside down. Now put it over there. What's he doing? He's eating his own kid. And to make sure you know it's all about them being held, look, there it is. That represents you and your spirit being cooked by those that are from the abyss. There it is. Here it is. It's right here. Right there. Wow. Okay, let's go back to the other video. Y'all ready? All right, guys. So now I want to show you this trajectory chart, and I just want you guys to understand that it will be coming up from underneath us. Think about the pit or the abyss rising. The abyss rising. Think about a solar system coming up from underneath us, intersecting our solar system. Imagine that the name of the planet Nibiru in the native tongue means the planet of the crossing. You know, the Lord told me where I was born was very important. The Lord told me where I got saved was very important. I was born in Frankfurt. Frankfurt means the crossing of the ford. Frankfurt, the crossing of the ford, also of a free man. Crossing of the ford, Frankfurt. And then I got saved at the St. Anthony. And the St. Anthony, the Lord said, look where you are on Travis Street. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Look up Travis. Travis means the crossing over where the toll gets paid. Like the crossing over where the toll is paid. I got saved at the St. Anthony. That's where my toll got paid by Christ. At a place that literally means the crossing over where the toll gets paid, Travis? That's not even remotely possible. Okay, now, the name Nibiru means the planet of the crossing. My parachute has an X on it. You know, like Planet X. Planet X in Nibiru is also called Wormwood. Her end, her side, when it shows up, when the pit arises, when it shows up here, when the earth cracks open and out of the pit come locusts, her end is as bitter as wormwood. Okay, let me show you this. Let me show you this real fast before I continue on the video. Watch this. Let me open up this folder. Okay, let me just give you guys a mental understanding of a parallel universe. Like this is, think of this as you in the middle on the earth, just right here. And think of one dimension, that's heaven, the dimension below the pit. One puts out energy, one takes in energy. Okay, now watch. Let me show you. This is a recent photo as of the last couple days, right there. Another sun or planet in the sky. There it is. Okay, now let me show you this. Ready? This is absolutely crazy. What is Planet X? Planet X is a planet that the ancient Sumerians referred to as Nibiru. The ancient Sumerian word literally means planet of the crossing. The planet of the crossing. That's why they call it Planet X. The Sumerians gave it the name because of the approximate every 3,000 years, Planet X crosses Earth's orbit, and the Sumerians counted it as the 12th planet in our solar system because they regarded both the sun and the moon as planets. Okay, now watch this. It's called the planet of crossing. Watch this. Let's see. So remember, in the Vatican, the ceiling is the eye. See, is the ceiling right here is the eye of an angel. It's angelic. And see, right here is like an eye of a human. And then the floor of the Vatican underneath the canopy is the eye of a serpent. One's angelic, one's serpent. One from heaven, one from the abyss. Do you get it? One up, one down. That's not even remotely possible. Now you want to see absolutely insane. The Lord told me to have a parachute made that says V for vengeance. That's the letter V right there with fangs. And the number 4, it's kind of blurry. But you see the circle in the middle? V for vengeance. Right side up and upside down. And here is my LZ in the desert, where he gave me 2 halves of the same rock put back together. Do you guys understand how insane this is? You're looking at a hieroglyph that's a consciousness of a serpent race consuming a sheep race. All you have to know is, who are the serpents? Well, isn't Nibiru considered the planet of the reptilian gods? It is. What about Earth? What are we? Well, let us create man in our image. Did they create man here in their image because it's a trap for angels to send the energy back to their race of beings? It looks like that's very possibly what all this understanding of the Bible is. Why would I have a parachute that's got a big X on it that says V for vengeance? I know it means that if you haven't been converted out of the right side up, upside down system, if you haven't been converted from this, then you will be eternally destroyed. You know why? Because you're still part this. You got to get that taken care of. And it's a spiritual essence. It's the essence from her. So when she shows up, or when the pit arises, hell hath enlarged herself beyond measure. Come out of her, my people. Her sins have reached unto heaven. It's made the loop, and it's showing up right now as other suns in the sky. Yeah. She's the dragon, right? Also, you see right here behind me on the wall? See right there? This is the corner post in the Vatican, and it's a woman wearing a bonnet, but it's also the dragon with its mouth open. Did you know they also called it the red dragon? Watch this. Okay, hang on one sec, guys. I'm freaking out because it's so insane. Everything makes so much sense. My head's spinning, but let me go. Yeah, right here. Here's a pretty good image. Because when it comes around, it'll make it look like it's got these wings. So here is, you can go on Google Images and type in Planet X, and you'll find it with these wings coming around. But let me show you some scripture stuff that's just mind-boggling. Psalm 146.8 and 9. The Lord openeth the eyes of the blind. Look at what the word blind means. To duplicate. He opens your eyes by duplicating your eyes. The Lord raiseth them that are bowed down. The Lord loveth the righteous. The Lord preserveth the strangers. He relieveth the fatherless. Relieveth means to duplicate. Look right here. Right here. 57:49. The Lord relieveth the fatherless. We are the strangers, you guys. Strangers means sojourners. He relieveth the strangers. To duplicate, testify, to restore as a sort of reduplication. That is what the crosses are all about. To reduplicate you. His purpose was to make one new man from the serpent, her, sheep, him. To reduplicate you. Do you get it? This is phenomenal. Why do you think the Vatican's the snake-eating angels? Aren't angels angelic heavenly beings? They are. What's the serpent? Flesh beings. Well, who made the serpent? Elohim. When the spirit of Elohim moved over the waters of the abyss. Okay, ready? Watch this. Remove yourself, Proverbs 5, but her end is as bitter as wormwood. So let's go to Proverbs 5 real quick. We got to get eSword open right now because this is going to be a mind boggler. Ready? So her end. Now think about her end, not just an adulterous woman. It says the lips of a strange woman. She is the strange woman that started the host body system. Do you get it? And stay away from her doorway. Her end. Think of her end showing up at the end is as bitter as wormwood. What shows up at the end, it looks like? Wormwood. Called Nibiru, the planet of a crossing. And notice how everything's X these days. Notice how the Olympics was her. The name of the band playing was her. The female was riding the horse on top of the waters. Do you get it? They've come to the top. We're rising from the depths to take those sheeple down. Remember? Okay, Proverbs 5. Here we go. Here it is. Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. Is her feet, look at the word feet, her pedenda, vagina goes down to hell. What's the serpent on your belly? You will go. On your belly, you will go. The external source of the fetus. Why do you think Lady Gaga has a serpent on her dress and she's got an insect on her dress? A new race of beings being birthed within the human race. We're just a host by. Where's this like the movie Alien Covenant? That's what's happening right now. What I'm showing you is we are literally like in a situation like Alien Covenant. You just couldn't see it. Look at this. Her end is as bitter as wormwood. Her end. The last end, hence for posterity. You know what that is? Her children, like children at the end. I'm going to see what this is highlighted. The hind part, the end. Her end is as bitter, angry, bitter, great, heavy, bitter, is as bitter as wormwood. Oh my God, to curse, which is down. Her end is as bitter as wormwood. You know what the curse is in the Bible in Revelation 22? There will be no more curse. Down. Where's she come from? Her end. She's coming from down. What's she doing? She's rising from the depths to take those sheeple down. But it's a him posing as a her. Wow, there it is. Look at this, guys. Her end is as bitter as wormwood. Right here. Sharp as a two-edged sword. Unbelievable. Her feet, her vagina goes down to hell. Her steps take hold on hell. Yeah. Lest thou should ponder the path of her way, the well-trodden road. Pace. Traveler. Look at that. Traveler. Interesting. Okay. Back to it. Sorry, I'm freaking out. This is unbelievable. Okay, back to the video. We're going to watch the elliptical path, but first I want to show you this. I want to show you a picture of, here we go, here it is right here, watch. Okay, ready? Look right down here. You see this planet right here? I know you can't read this white, it's fuzzed out. Wormwood. So you see this coming through. Now let me show you the elliptical trajectory. Follow this right here, going up. Okay, picture this is our solar system right here in this eternal plane. Okay, this comes up through it, and if it goes around it, you know what it would do? It would turn, the magnetic field would turn everything upside down. It would turn probably all the planets upside down, I would imagine. But think about Isaiah 24, and the earth will be turned upside down and the inhabitants scattered abroad. So this would give you an exact reason for the earth to be turned. How are you going to turn the earth upside down? Is it just metaphorical, or is it the earth is going to get turned upside down? We'll go check out Isaiah 24, but check it out. So that would flip, this whole saucer would flip like it had, you know, like a hinge here and a hinge here. It would flip everything. Okay, now let's go back and watch the video.
In the 1950s, most people aren't aware of it, but there was a scientific storm in America all through the late 50s about this thing out there in space, because the astronomers were all watching it, and that was back when they weren't afraid to talk about it. It was in the science magazines. I mean, I had a subscription to, like, Popular Science, and hell, it was on the front cover of the magazine one day in, like, 1961, and I was really...
Look right here, guys.
Really excited when I saw it, because here's this giant.
But then when the sun comes up, now remember this, if it's coming from below us, like the pit's coming from below us, the abyss, you know, what is the abyss? Well, it's a place, yes. It's a state of being, yes. Can you get to heaven in your host body, yes or no? No, you can't. You have to lose your host body to get to heaven. What about to the abyss? Can you get there in your host body? No, you die, then you go to the abyss because you're attached to the abyss through your host body. It all makes sense now. If they're the reptilian ones that started the host body system, then it all would make total sense. Just saying. Look what's on the wall behind me. Who could draw this in? Who could show you the Vatican's a snake? Who could show you the whole thing is a big bug harvesting angels? I know I can't. But I'll tell you what, the God whom I serve, he's the one that showed it all to me. I guess he thought I could take the mental beating, because this is mind-boggling. Okay, here we go. Back to it. Let's keep going.
Giant red planet on the horizon of the California coast, and a humongous...
Best scriptures, and in December, in the March of April of...
Had a subscription to, like, Popular Science, and hell, it was on the front cover of the magazine one day in, like, 1961. And I was really excited when I saw it, because here's this giant red planet on the horizon of the California coast, and a humongous tidal wave coming in towards the coast, and having grew up in the mountains of the Sierras, and this thing in the magazine, it said this tidal wave coming in was going to be at least 3 miles high, and I went in and showed it to everybody in the house, and they laughed, and they said, look, it says right here, there's nothing to worry about. It won't be here for another 50 years. Hey, guess what? That 50 years has came and gone, and this baby's out there in the sky. They've been watching it. I watched it, and I...
Okay, look at this. You see this right here? You see this black line? Like a debris field following it. Well, if it comes into our solar system and it's got this big debris field and it's close enough, what do you think that debris field is going to do? Well, the Earth is going to go through it, and it's going to be, we're going to get pounded with, you know, flaming meteors. Did you know that's in my artwork? It's literally in my artwork. Here we go. There it is. Look, debris field.
I can tell you, this thing has got so much trash coming around it. You know how we live in a solar system? We've got 9 planets and a big sun. This thing has got 7 planets and its own sun. But I believe that instead of having dirt on it like our planet does and water, I think this thing is just a big, bright reddish-orange iron ball, because it's giving off all this red iron oxide dust out into the atmosphere. When we thought at first it was just a teeny little red speck of fuzzy red dust in the distance, but over the years as it went by and we watched it, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then finally about '08 we could see this thing like it was across the street, and we could see that it was a blazing hot ball of fire giving out sparkles of red iron oxide dust.
Okay, did y'all hear what he said? In 2008 they could see it like it was across the street, giving out blazing sparks of red dust. Okay, that's crazy.
For thousands of miles in every direction, and you could see the planet circulating it. Now, I'll tell you one thing that I really am nervous about. I think this thing's got a planet like ours circling it. This is its own solar system. We're about to have a solar system come through the middle of our solar system. This can't be good. But
so let me ask you, can you imagine, can you perceive that that could be the abyss? That could be the abyss rising. Do you understand? It goes out and it comes back and it rises from underneath us. And all the time it's been sucking all the energy off the earth through all the people that die that have that angelic essence goes right there. That's where it goes. Well, who are they? Well, maybe the reptilian Sumerian gods. Who knows? But look what's behind me. No one knew this. No one knew the Vatican was a snake eating a sheep. No one knew that Akhenaten was a serpent eating a sheep either. But the Lord showed it to me. I'm just saying, who's got this kind of info? I know mine's from the Lord. Mine's not from research. What we're looking at is research that's intersecting everything I've done. Freak out, dude.
Unfortunately, it looks as though that's what's going to happen. Hopefully nothing in this mess will hit us, even though it does say it will in the Bible, leastwise it does in my Bible. It says we can expect all kinds of problems. We were looking at asteroids. Right close to this thing, there's asteroids that are floating around right near that are orbiting the main sun itself. These things appear to be about 500 miles across. And as you go back into the tail, you get into meteorites that go back for millions of miles in the tail. This thing looks like a giant red teardrop-shaped dust cloud. And you can see, if you're able to see it up close like we did, you can see every speck out there. I guarantee you there's trillions of meteorites following this thing. Now, these CIA people that I know say that we're not going to be that close to it when it goes past us. They're saying that in order to attain breakaway speed, when it comes up around the backside of the sun, its speed will at least double, possibly more, which will put it here earlier than everybody is saying it will, and that this thing will probably be about 20 million miles from us when it crosses in front of us. And then as soon as it flips us upside down, we're going to go into its debris field tail and be pelted with meteorites. And, of course, in the Bible it says they will talon 70 pounds. So if you've got 70-pound meteorites falling like hail, and I can guarantee you they will be falling like hail because there are that many in the tail of this thing. This thing has got a tail loaded with trash. I mean, it's incredible the amount of stuff that's in this thing's tail. And we're going to go right through that tail. And if it doesn't beat everything on the surface of the ground into a flat putty, I don't know what it'll take. Because this is going to happen so fast. Now, see, here's another thing nobody's talking about. You've got this giant iron planet that they say is 47,000 miles across, getting ready to come up.
Isn't that fascinating? Iron planet. In the last kingdom is the iron mixed with the miry clay. Like transhumanism. Isn't this also fascinating? It's like y'all know something's about to happen, don't you? With what's going on with Israel right now and the civil unrest in the world and the Pope doing the opening of the prison doors, like the prison, like this thing's coming out. So I don't know what to say except wow. It sure looks like things are setting up for something beyond our brain. So if you're not converted, and I mean, if you're not, the two haven't been made one, you're in horrible shape. So turn back to the living God with all your heart, because it looks like what we're seeing in the sky right now, that may be the harbinger that we're looking for. That may be why the Lord made sure I had an X on my parachute. V for vengeance. V right side up, V upside down for vengeance. Circle in the middle. The crossing, Frankfurt, crossing of the Ford. Got saved at the St. Anthony, the priceless one, in front of Travis Street. The crossing where the toll gets paid. This is not possible. You understand? This is not possible. What's on my walls? Yeah, anyway, okay.
Up past us, and when it starts to approach us, it's going to start and have real serious effects.
So is it a planet or a failed star?
It's not a failed star. We were first able to discern it through, and I mean enormous, at least 50 or 100,000 miles on each side of it, this red dust cloud that goes all the way around it. I know when we were watching it, as it started to make the upward swing to approach behind our sun, it was amazing. The red dust clouds settled down. Instead of being round, it started to settle down into a V, like wings, upside-down wings.
Right.
And I thought, boy, I wonder if that's where the ancient Sumerians got the idea this thing had wings, because, you know, centrifugal force is a funny thing. When it comes back up around the planet, when we see it in the sky, my guess is it's going to look like it's got wings, because centrifugal force is going to be pulling the red iron oxide dust and particles out to one side, and then as it starts to climb out and go away from us, listen, you know, I was reading a deal in my Bible. It says that after this happens that nobody will care because they won't be able to remember it. Well, of course, I was told by somebody the reason that is because the electromagnetic field from this thing will be so strong, because, see, as it comes up underneath of us, it's going to start and pull us toward it. And then, just like a pair of big magnets, all of a sudden it's going to lock onto us. And when it does, it's going to be like the Jolly Green Giant kicked the earth in the ass. It's going to send a jolt 500 to 1,000 foot high. This is what I'm told. 500 to 1,000 foot high shock waves all the way around planet Earth. They'll be so bad that in a lot of areas that don't have good solid soil, it'll fluff it so badly that you'll practically be like you're standing in quicksand. And there won't be any doubt in anybody's mind, because this thing's going to look like a big red dragon, exactly like all the ancient Sumerians and the Chinese and all the rest of them that had documented this thing's passing before. It didn't look like a white ball or a snow cloud or nothing. It looked like a big red iron oxide dust cloud with a superheated star in the middle of it. And I mean, you know, and that's what we've seen. So, you know, I don't care what anybody else says. There's a possibility. There's more than one thing out there.
All right, guys. Y'all can hear the entire thing on in my folders. Why would the Lord all of a sudden be showing me this? In the last 48 hours, the Lord dumped this on me. And I just want to be clear, by the way, I started working on this like 5-6 days ago, actually, I think. But man, my emails are getting blown up. Y'all know who you are. Don't blow up my emails. I hate it when people blow up my emails. I'm talking like 15 emails in a row, that kind of thing. Don't ever do that, please. It's awful. I have to deal with so much writing and so much reading and emails. I have such a workload, it's absurd. And when someone blows up my emails, it shows me they just don't care. They're thinking about them, not me. And it's like, don't do it. Please don't do it. Because, yeah, it cycles out all the other emails. Because I have like a limit on the amount that'll come in. And then the one, you know, other people that are trying to email, one person has taken up 15 slots of my emails. So if you're one of those people, please don't be one of them anymore. Okay.
You know, I watched it through the Hubble Space Telescope, and when this thing looked like it was across the street, the Hubble got cut off and they encrypted it, and that was the end of any transmissions we had to watch. And
okay, stop right there. So they turned off the telescope for the guys that were watching it and said, that's it, that's enough. Hopefully that tells you everything. You would never do that unless you didn't want people to know the proximity and the imminent threat and the imminent danger, so they don't want it leaking out, because the last thing they're going to do is let you know. But I'm a harbinger. I told you I was called to warn the world that the world is going to be destroyed by fire. I knew it the night I got saved. The night I was saved, I knew there was a fire coming to destroy everything. It's in my personal testimony. And now it looks like everything's starting to make total sense of all of it. This is a snake eating a sheep, a consciousness of a serpent race eating the consciousness of a sheep race. The Vatican is a serpent eating angelic beings, sheep. Do you understand? Serpent race eating angelic beings, sheep race. The mystery is solved, you guys. Absolutely solved. The Bible is the only thing that makes sense of all of it. And if you don't get redoubled, then you're in a position to be eternally destroyed by all this. Okay. I got to put a lid on it for a minute because I'm overwhelmed. Anyway, guys, I love you in Christ. Please go look at the last two folders. And I'm going to probably do a little short video and put it on my short channel of just scriptures that go with all this. You guys got to see these scriptures. But if I start right now, I'll be here another hour. All right, guys, I love you in Christ. Go, please look at the folders. All right.